Chat, if you guys sacrifice me a good gun, I won't kill you.
Enemy shield. Target. Just can't resist me, can they? Whole squad down. Now, let's see what they left us.
He's just standing there.
Well, it's not always sunshine and rainbows, especially if you're playing a game called Apex Legends. You may have heard of it, and it's actually got a parent company called EA, which sucks. Guys, for a lot of us out there, your dreams have just been crushed by the news that just came out regarding Apex Legends, and it's very unfortunate, but what are you gonna do? Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Really has helped me out a ton. Thank you guys so much for the support lately, and let's jump into it. So first off, thank you to Nico Rogers for tagging me in this over on Twitter. Absolutely unbelievable. Think you said it best here. Alpha Intel came out earlier today. Unfortunately, it said Respawn does not plan to make any LTMs permanent despite the popularity of Gun Run and Control, as the focus, they say, is on, quote, BR. They did add, quote, never say never, but just before you get excited about that, they also said never say never about solos, and they definitely are not bringing solos back. So that was the headline of the tweet and the title. I began to read the article, and this is actually what went into detail. Apex Legends Season 15 has obviously brought a plethora of new content. That's even a word, never heard of it before. Amongst all the new excitement, the game's developers over at Respawn have also been delving into what fans can expect moving forward. They revealed that Winter Express is likely to return, that low gravity gameplay was ultimately left on the cutting room floor, but the build up to Season 15's launch also revealed the potential for LTMs to become permanent down the line. Wait a second. So wait, we already know Winter Express is coming. It's been recycled for the last couple of years, and I'm not mad because I love that game mode. It's really good, but like, what? So we move on to the next headline where it says Respawn refused to rule out Apex Legends LTMs becoming permanent. They said when asked about whether or not LTMs will become permanent in Apex Legends, design director Evans said never say never. He did though admit that Respawn are concentrating on battle royale modes as our focus is BR. We've seen a lot of LTMs come and go from Apex Legends, including Deja Loot, Gun Run, Locked and Loaded, and even highly requested solos mode. Very few stay for good, however. We've seen some additions like arenas hang around, but they tend to be the exception that proves the rule. Apex fans definitely want the best modes in the LTM department to stay permanent in the game, with fans recently demanding that Gun Run should be made permanent. It is certainly a tricky situation to balance, with any free-to-play title having to be selective with its resources, but ensure players have ample choice in terms of good game modes. Unfortunately, for players who want to see more diversity in Apex's playlist, it doesn't sound like the devs will be keeping LTMs around anytime soon. Oh my gosh, it sucks. In their own words though, never say never. I gotta be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of whoever wrote this article. And the reason is they very clearly stated in the original tweet that Respawn does not have any plans to make the LTMs permanent. With an article and headline like that, you would obviously think they're going to show us some form of Respawn communication saying that, hey, we're not going to bring these modes permanently. But the only quote they give from Respawn here is saying never say never, which actually is more on the positive side. Therefore, I would assume that maybe there was an interview conducted in which Respawn did say something, but they weren't allowed to say what they said, so maybe they just made an article about it. That being because Dexerto usually puts out very reliable, trustworthy articles, so I would say it probably is true. I just don't feel like they really quoted sources that well. But if you were an advocate for solos mode coming back and definitely staying permanent in the game, you can definitely say goodbye to that, because if they're not even considering modes like Gun Run or Control to be permanent, you're definitely not going to get a solos mode. It would really suck if they're trying to use data or analytics from arenas as saying like, oh, maybe arenas was a really bad idea for us to do, rather than actually noting the fact that they were terrible parents of arena. That game mode definitely did have potential, but they did not take care of it. They did not update it properly, and they definitely did not listen to fan feedback when it came to arenas. Now, before you guys like really start holding on to the never say never thing, I would just like to also remind you that they also said never say never when it comes to the Titans in the game, I'm pretty sure. So I wouldn't count on never say never being really that much positive news. When he says never say never, I would imagine that probably they do have some type of indication, but we're talking maybe 4 or 5 years from now. Don't go thinking they're going to change their mind next season, which really sucks after the most recent leaks where we heard that we were going to be getting all of these free DM modes, and it sounded like those were going to be permanent, and those would include things like the Gun Run mode, I'm pretty sure, maybe even some other modes. And I think there was actually another mode that was leaked about a game type mode, like with the ball in place, similar to like uplink from Call of Duty, where there would be like a ball in the middle of the map or something, and you would have to get the ball and then obviously go score it on the opponent's like you know, home base. If they're saying that LTMs have no plan or intentions to stay permanent, then maybe even that mode is just simply going to be an LTM mode. Now, I wouldn't be too mad if they just kept bringing LTMs a lot. I think that'd be a great idea. However, if they have no plans to make any of these permanent, I think it's going to be a real gut wrencher to a lot of people. And I got to be honest with you, I obviously love this game. I've already said it in multiple videos. This game is not going to die. I think it could take a massive hit if things aren't done well, but if they have no plans to make LTMs permanent, they really need to focus on maybe making some matchmaking updates when it comes to Apex on Battle Royale, because it has not been a pleasurable experience. And if players don't feel like there's going to be any sort of escape out of that, and they're going to be forced to play this very harsh matchmaking that keeps aggravating them and frustrating them, and I'm not talking about just the public matchmaking, I'm still talking about multiple seasons later, we're still in this situation where Apex Predators are playing against platinum players in ranked lobbies. It's absolutely terrible. They've got to fix some of these things, because players are not going to be having a good time, and they're definitely not going to be having a good player retention if they keep doing these things. Season 15 better see some really big matchmaking decisions here when it comes to at least ranked matches, but hopefully pubs as well. I mean, this was coming from Shiv yesterday as well, and actually you could see a picture right here of this Apex Predator killing this platinum player in a ranked lobby, and Shiv responded, said, "Indeed, the matchmaking in this game is god awful. Respawn should make it to where plat players cannot be in Diamond Plus lobbies, especially after ranks and players rank up and settle after early season / split. Then again, I think this has been a thing since the beginning, not just this season." This is terrible. Like, if you're going to exclude the fact that LTMs could possibly be permanent in this game and your focus is simply on BR, you've got to show some type of focus on the BR and make some changes to where there's some really bad situations. Also, I'm Madness right after that was saying Overwatch is not better than Apex, but the fact that more people are enjoying it says a lot about the state of Apex. Can't remember if I made mention of this in my video yesterday, but you guys know that there was this big outbreak. If you have a Twitter account and you were on Twitter, there was this big outbreak of people talking about SBMM again, and it started with Tim the Tap Man, made this viral tweet, then everybody started giving their opinion about SBMM, and then the, you know, conversations came back up, whatever. So I just said this, you know, my thoughts are this: I've heard the devs perspective, I heard the streamers perspective, I heard the devs responding to the streamers perspective, I've talked to the devs and got their logic, and I get it. I'm not saying that they're wrong, I'm not saying that the streamers are right. All I'm saying is the fact of the matter, no matter the logic that you had, the masses are frustrated and hate the sweatiness. There's an obvious problem, because every time someone makes a skill-based matchmaking tweet, or the fact that the matchmaking is messed up in Apex, everything goes viral. Like, it's the streamer's biggest tweet, it's their most liked comment, it's their most liked video, it's their most viewed video, it's the biggest stream they've had. Like, I don't know how you can like actually go against the fact that every time someone makes a big comment about SBMM, it always seems to go viral, but their other stuff doesn't. I think that the players have just such high tension when it comes to the matchmaking situation that they always want to obviously soak up content that is hating on the matchmaking, because we all agree it's not very good. And like I said before, I'm not saying that, you know, we need to listen to exactly what the streamers are saying, or that we should ignore what the devs have excuses for. I think some of the devs' responses actually make sense. I'm not saying that they don't have any kind of data that backs up the point of why the matchmaking is the way that it is, but you also can't ignore a massive crowd, a massive audience that is complaining and saying that they're not having a good time with this specific thing. And that also doesn't mean I'm saying the result is to maybe bow down to those people, because they might be the minority. Maybe people actually enjoy the matchmaking on a wide scale audience, but maybe when it comes to a smaller percentage, people that have Twitter accounts, people that have YouTube channels, people that watch YouTube, maybe those people are more frustrated about it. I'm not sure. All I'm saying is we can't let these SBMM conversations keep skyrocketing and going viral, because it's obvious people are frustrated. We should acknowledge the amount of people that are frustrated and say, okay, obviously there's some type of problem going on here, so we should be actively seeking some type of solution. The solution is not keep arguing and showing that I'm a dev and here's the stats, here's why it's good, here's why we're going to keep it, because those people are going to see your stats and say, well, this freaking sucks, because that just means gaming is ruined forever for me and I'm not going to ever enjoy it again. I might as well just quit. Like, that's not the mentality you want them to have either. I think it's a very complex issue. I really hope that maybe we can come down to the end of it very soon. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section below regarding these LTM modes not being permanent in the game. Very interested to see what you guys have to say. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. See you all in the next one. Later, Gators.